Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Today, I have a very special guest, and this is a very special episode because we have decided that because May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we were going to do extra episodes this month talking about mental health and how mental health affects us and what, stories some people have about surrounding mental health. So today I would love for you to welcome this beautiful woman that I met quite some time ago, and that, I don't know, she's just been like my soul sister since I met her. I just have this connection, and she's just a wonderful woman. This is Carole Filion, and she is a mental fitness coach and mentor. So welcome, Carole.
Thank you, Vicki. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
Yes,
right?
I agree. Too long.
And I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This
I'm
is,
so happy you're here. And it's funny because we've connected so many times over the last few years. And we just realized something in our last conversation, that we were both doing the PQ Intelligence
Yes.
course, and how much it has shifted our lives. Like,
Big time.
unbelievable, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that they equate it, and I use this all the time, that it's really 20% insight and 80% mental fitness. And, we spend time at the gym, we get our bodies physically fit. And how much time do we spend on our mental fitness?
Yeah.
And that's the part that really, it drew me to this. And then as I was learning it and applying the techniques and the tools, it's made such a huge shift because, like I said, they equate it to like that 80% mental fitness. That's kind of like your operating system.
Yeah.
If you look at the mind as your operating system, anything that runs over on top of it is an application.
Yeah.
There's your 20% insight. So you can have all of these courses and books, and if all we needed was just to read a book or take a course, then there would be no alcoholics, no one would be overweight, there'd be no smokers, there'd be right. We would just have all the knowledge that we need, but it's not.
That's right.
Knowledge isn't enough.
No,
it's the
not.
mental fitness, and that's what you and I were talking about, and how that's really shifted that. It just helps to kind of clear out the virus.
Yes,
code.
absolutely. And I love how the way you put it all together, because I was thinking, okay, I don't really know how to explain this. And it's hard because it is, and the simple, small practices that we can add to our lives, that everybody thinks, oh, I can't add anything else. There's too much on my plate already. We don't have enough time, blah, 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 blah. And we come up with every reason and excuse. I know I did that because this is the second time doing this course. And it's been the first time, again, like you said, I was doing that. I was doing another course. I was doing something else. I was at the beginning of my personal awareness journey. So I was just like this. I couldn't get enough of all of it. Right. But the thing that I noticed was I wasn't mentally prepared for it because I wasn't ready. I still hadn't cleared out a lot of the clutter that I had in my brain from the years of, with the grief and there's so much that we go through in life. And we need to sometimes realize that there is no quick fix, and you can't just keep piling things on over top of everything else to think that, oh, now I've got it. Now I understand it. Now I can do it. Because that's just not the truth. right? We
Right.
have to look
Right.
at what's going to work best for us. And this program that we've both done is just, oh my gosh, it's life changing for me. Even when I
Yeah.
look at other people and I see what my reaction is causing in them. Like, it's not
Right.
just about us, it's about
Right.
our surroundings and our people that we're around. It makes a difference,
Mhm.
right? When you
Yeah,
can be aware.
absolutely. And I love the way that it's yeah, and it's all based on neuroscience and
Yes.
performance science and positive psychology and cognitive behavioral therapy, like all of that. Like
Yep.
it sits at the middle of that. And the science part, I mean, I love to nerd out. The science part is what you were just talking about is those mirror neurons, right? Where people pick up where
Yep.
we're at.
Yeah.
So that part is extremely powerful because, boy, if this world is not in need of positivity right now, I don't know when. I
When we
mean,
needed
we
it more.
always need some positivity,
Mhm.
but why
Yes.
not get into, like, a positivity contagion so that, when
Yes.
we do the inner work and get ourselves in that space where we can at least live in that space at least 75% of the time,
Mhm. Mhm.
then it's going to have a contagion effect.
That's right.
Just like negativity has a contagion
Oh,
effect, right? How many times have we found ourselves in the presence of someone and we're having a conversation? They're saying all the right things, but I don't know, something's off,
yeah.
right? You just walk away
Yes.
feeling, ew, what
Mhm.
happened?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Right?
and why? And
And that's
um
your neurons. There's something
yes.
going on that they're thinking about, and it's kinda you're getting some of that schmutz on you.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's the only way
yeah,
I can describe it,
absolutely.
right?
So, Carol, I know that
So why not turn the table? Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
go ahead. Go
absolutely,
ahead.
why not turn the tables? And I think that
Yeah.
you sharing what you're gonna share in a moment is so key to this because I I I've spoken about this before. I'm not good with labels. I don't like it when people are labeled. I don't think that
Yeah.
um me suffering from the symptoms of depression means that I'm depressed and that's who I am. I'm just depressed. Vicky's
Mhm.
depressed. I don't agree with that. I
Yeah.
believe that we need to not own it like that because and then it becomes who we are in everything we do. And
Right.
I don't like that. So you
Yeah.
recently, your journey, I mean, talk a little bit about your journey for our listeners because I think this is such an important topic to talk about because since you and I had our conversation like a week and a half ago, the number of
Mhm.
women that I have talked to is unbelievable that have the same similar story as you. I was just like, what is
Yeah.
happening? But unlike you,
Right?
because you
Mhm.
have this base of personal awareness, you've done the work, you're continuing to do the work, which that needs
Yeah.
to be really understood here that it isn't like we take a course and we're healed. Like you said earlier, this is growth and learning is a constant thing. We're constantly evolving, but growth is supposed to be just like life fun because when we can
Oh.
see what we can create and within ourselves and with other people, it brings
Mm.
a light to me that I can't even explain.
Yeah.
To be able to speak to someone and see
Yeah.
that switch turn like, "Oh my goodness, thank you,"
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
hear your voice when you say that. So
Yeah.
share a
Oh,
little bit about your
absolutely. I
journey.
I agree. It's not Yeah, so, well, I wanna just
Yeah.
drive the point home. I absolutely agree. It's never one and done. It's a process, and it's a continual process, right? So my journey, it and, at the tender age of, 64, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And when I first got that, I was, "What?" It was like
Really?
it wasn't even on my radar. But like what you just said, I had bouts of depression and anxiety. And that had been marbled through all of my life, compounded with, the baby blues, postpartum, and,
Yeah.
all of that, like from as far back as I can remember. And I think what kind of blew me away after I got the diagnosis and then started doing a little bit of research on it for myself. I'm no expert on ADHD at all. I really just researched it to see what I could do, how it applies to me, and that kind of thing. But what I saw was, oh my goodness, how many women have been misdiagnosed with
Hmm.
depression and anxiety and everything else when really their brain was just wired differently.
Right.
That's all ADHD is. It was just wired differently. That's all. So I work within that. Now I have a much better perspective on it. And the exhaustion, I didn't realize how exhausting it was to mask and try to be normal.
Right.
And so I was always constantly pushing, 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 pushing. It was never good enough. Well, then it turns out, well, because ADHD means I have less dopamine.
Okay.
So that means the reward system isn't built in. I have to figure that out. So now it's, oh, okay. So what can I do to enjoy the journey maybe a little bit more? Because it's like at some point, when is it enough? And
Wow.
I'd gone through burnout and everything else, like losing jobs over it. And it was,
Wow.
yeah, in looking back, I know it was like highs and lows sort of thing,
Right?
right? I mean, I was super successful, but would ultimately flame out because it was
Wow.
so exhausting to have to play this role. It was so performative every day. And it was a question of, me, I think, well, I am more introverted than I am extroverted, but I blamed it on introversion, going, no, 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 I need time by myself. It was the only time that I could just be me
Right.
and not have to have the
Mask.
mask on. There was
Hmm.
just,
Yeah.
very few people that knew.
Hmm.
And even then they could see that there were triggers there
Yeah.
and not really understanding where those triggers were coming from. It was just sheer exhaustion or
Oh,
confusion or right? So, really, yeah, it was so when the diagnosis came, I kinda went, "It does not compute," you know? Like,
yeah.
it was just kind of the little hamster on the wheel just stopped and went, "What?"
Wow. Eh?
It was never on my radar.
Wow.
Then when it was explained to me that, well, because of this, this, and this, it's like, "Oh my gosh, okay." And so and not everybody I did go the route of medication. I mean, not on
Yeah.
any other meds other than for this. So at my age, usually
Right?
it's something completely different,
Right?
but right? Anyway, so it was, and I certainly don't wanna make any I'm not making any statements about that. That
No.
worked for me. It's
Yeah.
not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
not for everybody.
Absolutely. Like in
So
anything, right?
I
Like
I
some
wanna
people
be
can take
sure.
vitamins that don't work well for in their bodies. It is what works for each individual person. And this is where I think the
Mhm.
problems stem from is that just you're not in a container of ADHD people now. That's not how this
No,
works. You are still an
no.
individual with this diagnosis dealing with it with your body, not because
Mhm.
of, and the person sitting beside you that has it doesn't mean it's going to be the same or you're going to have the same this and the same medicines will work. It just isn't the way it is. But
Yeah.
not doing the research yourself, I think, is something
No.
that we all fall back on because we trust in, well, your doctor said so, so that's the way it is. We don't actually
Yeah.
ask the questions for ourselves. okay, so if this is the truth, then let me do some research. Do I feel this way? Does this work? Like, is this making it? Do I understand that
Yeah,
this is the reasons why for myself? And you did that, and I think that that is what I want to drive home is that mental health isn't a label of, oh, you have this and you're that's just where you have to be. I think that we have to understand that with each of us in our makeup, in our person, in our environment, in our background, everything has to do with how we get to deal with this diagnosis.
absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And the 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 fact of the matter is that when these things happen, and we're hearing more and more women are
Mhm.
diagnosed with ADHD. And
Yep.
I've even, like you said, you've talked to a lot of women. I've talked to a lot of women. It's like, whoa, I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that there's really a rise in it because let's think about this for a second. I don't think the human brain is really designed to be taking all of the information that gets tossed at us every single day.
Yeah.
Right? It's streaming, it's radio, it's streaming music, it's a computer, it's email, it's texting, it's WhatsApp, it's this, that, boom, 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 ding, 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 ding. There's all
Yeah.
and they've also proven that those dings, right? Whoop, that's a little dopamine hit. Whoop, oh,
Yeah.
somebody's trying to get a hold of me. Oh, no,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of short
Yeah.
circuiting that goes on, and the brain
Oh.
is trying to adapt to it. But just like there are certain foods that the body was never designed to process,
Hmm.
so goes the
The mind.
information, the data
That's
going in here. It only stands to reason. So, maybe today it's called ADHD. There might be something,
yeah.
10, 20 years down the road because it started as ADD, now it's ADHD. And so, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like as
Yeah.
they learn more about the brain and how it processes information and how, you know, its role in our well-being,
Hmm.
right? Because it's really just an electronic switching station. When we think of the
Yeah.
mind, I mean, I don't want to get into it too deeply, but the mind is kind of a holistic thing, right? It's in every
Yeah.
cell of our body.
Yeah.
The brain is the
Absolutely.
electronic switching station that's taking the information and just going, okay, that goes here, that goes there, that goes there, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
right? It's that
Hmm.
Ganesh
And
kind of thing.
that's so true. But that being said, how you were raised and the information you were given at a young age has a play on all of that as well, right? Our traumas,
Absolutely.
our happy time, anything. Our everything plays into this. And that's where I think
Yeah.
that again the differences come in each person because you're you're
Mhm.
now learning to deal with this in a different way because first of all, when you got this diagnosis, you were already on your personal awareness journey because you had been coaching already. You had been, you had been working on yourself for several years. So now you've kind of shifted into a place where you can speak to people who have this happening and put it into and I don't like the word normal and abnormal, but into a more normal understanding because they then can realize it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can survive this, right? We can get through this. And I know that, you know,
Yeah.
mental health has um unfortunately been not something that's been brought forward enough as far as I think in the mainstream. I think that
Yeah.
it should be spoken about more, and it isn't until something drastic happens, like we see a star that has had a breakdown, or we see something that, and then we judge that person, not knowing really what actually happened there, right? Like what is going on in
Mhm.
here that switch has
Mhm.
changed, and then it's brought to the forefront, and then it's a judgment, right? That's what ends up happening is we
Yeah,
sit in judgment of
absolutely.
others and ourselves.
Mhm. Well, and it's still stigmatized because of labels. You alluded to that earlier.
Mhm.
And I was watching, it's kind of a news format show that I watch on weekends and they were talking about Ted Turner's passing. And
Yes.
Ted Turner had been very open about being bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And although I understood the essence of what this person was trying to say in focusing on Ted Turner, and that, what essentially it was saying was that, we focus so much on his accomplishments and everything else, but really, we really need to focus on how open he was about being bipolar and
Mm-hmm.
his struggles with that and so on. But he kept referring to it as mental illness. And it's really right. I mean, I guess maybe that's the way it's defined in that whatever DSM-5 or whatever the
Yeah.
that journal is. But in saying that, to me, especially when it comes to mental health,
Yeah.
is it's almost saying that, well, if someone has a mental illness, do we really want to entrust them with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It would be the equivalent of saying that, well, if someone is diabetic, that means that their pancreas isn't really operating at its full, like,
Yeah.
optimally.
Capacity.
So,
Yeah.
maybe should we be trusting them with this?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? They've learned to deal with it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as Ted Turner had dealt with it in the best way he saw fit.
Yeah.
And that, I thought, was the kind of the missed opportunity in this news journal, was that, you know, that he
Mm-hmm.
was dealing with it, and despite all of it, had all of this success. But one of the
Exactly.
things that made him realize that he had an issue was that he realized that every time he finished this huge, he reached this goal, this huge milestone, he wouldn't, it was nothing with him. Like he didn't celebrate.
Right.
So that's what kind of opened him up to,
Yeah.
okay, hang on a second, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, good, that's done. Next. Right.
Right.
And I
Right.
mean, that's a lot of us have that saboteur, right? The
Yeah.
hyperachiever does that,
Absolutely.
right? That's that
Absolutely.
mental pattern. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are like that. And it doesn't mean that it's a sign of mental illness, but when that that saboteur shows up, it's a sign. It's just a signal. It's like, oh, huh, I wonder, right?
Yeah.
It's enough reason to pause and think. And that's the word, right? Is to think
Yeah.
through some things. I hope I don't botch this, but Bob Proctor used to say 2% of people actually think, 3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think. Because sometimes when we think about what causes, like, I wonder why. Why would I think that? Why would I think
Mm-hmm.
that just because this
Yeah.
person said this, that it means this?
Yeah.
We don't stop to do that because sometimes we don't look at it.
No.
Like,
No. Yep.
nothing to look at
Absolutely.
here. And we
Hence,
normalize. We wind up
yes.
normalizing so many things. And that's where mental fitness, mental
Yeah.
health, maintaining good mental health starts, is
Yeah.
with thought.
Yeah.
What are we letting in?
Yes. And that's the thing too, right? Your thought, when we allow what we allow in. And again, going back to what you said earlier, we have so much stimulation from the outside. Like you said, all the ding, 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 ding. We're letting so much information in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to, up until not that long ago, would, once my day was done, want to just revert into being on my phone and scrolling or playing like a mindless game so that I didn't have to deal with things. I had felt that I was burnt out from my day of dealing, dealing, dealing. That was an easy way of, or, when my
Mhm.
parents passed, it was, I stuffed my emotions with food and alcohol and just so that I didn't have to feel it, because all of that was in here, but
Right.
then it gets filtered, right? Our thoughts, emotions create our reality. Well, If I didn't have to
Mhm.
deal with this, then I didn't have to
Yeah.
deal with that, which didn't have to deal with the reality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and our body
it's a
gets involved
hard,
right away, right?
oh, yep.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult because we have to remember this as we grow and as we learn, we can revert back to our old way of being just like that because we've been it for so long, right? So, and now
Uh,
that you've
mhm,
recognized ADHD in your in your life, how has your life
mhm.
shifted? Like what do you feel like your how do you feel like your life has shifted since your diagnosis?
It's really interesting because it actually it hit me this morning because it was a tough morning, and then I realized, oh, because I was saying, "Oh my gosh, like, get it together, Carol. You're gonna have to be on podcast soon." And wait a minute, that's old thinking. I don't have to have the answers to everything.
No, you don't.
I'm a human being. This is where I was
Right.
in that space. I've got tools and things, and maybe I just need to kind of look at and go, "Oh, wait a minute. Does that event is it really negative? Or is there another way to look at it?"
Mhm.
And then going down that rabbit hole. If I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, I might as well make it one that serves me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I
Absolutely.
think it's worth so that's where I think probably the biggest shift is not expecting me to be perfect because I'll never be perfect. That's an ideal that just doesn't exist.
Mhm.
And I'm not broken either. That
Mm-mm.
diagnosis didn't mean that there was
No,
something wrong with me. It was
no way.
just okay, your brain is wired a little differently. You're in good company.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're going to have to do things differently. Like don't
Mhm.
like cuz at any given time I had 18 tabs open in my head. So now I'm starting to learn to just dump it on in a list,
Yes.
prioritize it later. Nothing needs to be done right away. Just dump it in a list, put it all in a list. And
Mhm.
then let's just go back. Okay, what's the next best thing? What's the next most important thing that
Yeah.
needs to be addressed now? Just pick
Yeah.
that, get rid of the list.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it.
Yeah.
And the 18 tabs were just open in my head. They're also open in my on my laptop.
I was
Still,
gonna
that's
say
one
that.
thing I am learning, but I've discovered groups in Chrome, so now I can group things, and that makes way more sense for me. Now I don't
Um,
have to worry about having to open everything up. I just minimize everything and just go get the group that I need, and that's it.
See,
And
now
that's it.
and that
So,
is
little things like that.
putting
Mhm,
putting things in place to allow
mhm.
yourself the grace of the way you're
Yeah,
doing things and the way you can move forward, and that's the key right there. This could have been,
yeah.
"Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness," or it could be, "Okay, so how do
Overwhelm.
I
Yeah.
make this easier for myself? What is going to," and I am
Yeah.
that person. I need to have the old-fashioned calendar. I write everything in it. I need to see it. I love the
Yep.
writing. I need to see everything,
Mhm.
and then I put it all into my computer, and yes, I won't lie, there's been
Uh-huh.
some mishaps with that, but all in all, it gives me I need that. I need to see it on a piece of paper. When I write it, I learn it, I feel it, I breathe it. I like that is part of me. When I just type
Beautiful.
it,
Yeah.
it's not the same for me. And everybody's different. I was doing
Yep.
this masterclass and it was all about she was like, "I'm a replay girl. So if you're not watching this live, that's okay." But what she
Mm.
did say was, when we do watch things, watch it a couple of times, and I do think that that's perfect for our podcast. If you listen to it a couple of times because there is nuggets, gold nuggets in everything that people share. You just have to be aware and open to receiving them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm the same way. I need to go back over it a couple of
Yeah,
times. Anything, really.
and that's
Even if I
okay.
was part of the live, I go back
Yes.
over it because, like you said, there's some things that you wind up missing, and it's
Yeah.
all part of study. I think study is extremely underrated,
Mhm.
and it needs to be brought back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, you know, dedicated time every day to study, to read, to go down that rabbit hole of whatever it is that's of interest
Mhm.
to you,
Yeah.
you know, and do it in a way that, well, actually, there's the other thing that's shifted for me since the diagnosis. That I now I and a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of James Clear, Atomic Habits, and I
Okay.
was before that. But now it makes there nuggets in there that makes so much more sense to me that I was able to go, ah, okay, now I know how to apply that. And one of the things he says is create a system that you can stick to even on your worst day. So when I would start my day and go, okay, yeah, I need to reach out to at least 10 people today. Yeah. If I wasn't feeling 100%, I'm fighting a bug or something.
Yeah.
Do you think I'd even reach out to one? No.
Exactly.
But if I can do maybe 5 people,
Mhm.
yeah, I could do 5 people, sure. Then that's
Yeah.
easy enough,
Yeah.
right? Because it could be, all right, it's a text message and an email and a voice
Yeah.
note,
Yeah.
whatever. And it to keep myself honest, and I want to make sure that I've got them out. There we go. Another thing of his that I used is this little paperclip system. So now I've got 5 on my desk, and every time I do an outreach, I drop it in the jar.
See? And that makes see? And there you go with the
That's a
rewarding
James Clear thing.
yourself, right? That is
Exactly.
important.
Because of the dopamine
Yes.
deprivation, now I have a visual cue that says, oh, cool. Okay, good. I'm done.
Mhm.
Whatever that system is, that when you've done it, you could call it a day. You know,
Mhm.
the other system that I've put together is for writing. And instead of, oh, I have to get this whole, you know, an article a week and blah, blah, blah. And whoa, that's overwhelming. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what he says, I mean, the object isn't to write the book. The goal is to become a writer.
Yeah.
And what's a 2-minute thing that any writer would do? And that is write one sentence
Yeah.
by 8 a.m. So I started a Google Doc called One Sentence, and I open a new tab every day. And I'm at
See?
80 some odd tabs now, and there's maybe 4 of them. I had to go back to actually see how many do I have just one sentence in. I
Wow.
want to say there's about 4
4.
where I was in a rush and it was like, okay, here's my one sentence. I'm in a
Yeah.
rush. Boom,
But
done.
you still get that you still get that pat on the back from yourself. You still get that good job, Carol, because we need to remember that we all have our ups and downs, regardless of what we're going
Yeah.
through. But we need to still, the unstoppable comes from the downs when you can.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was in a hurry and I can go back and you can see that now. And then you get to say, look what you did, Carol. You did this.
Mm,
That is
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so
So
important.
any little hack,
Yes.
yeah, any
Yeah.
hack that you can incorporate into your
Yeah.
day, like just that system
Hmm.
that you can do even on your worst day. Can I drop a sentence? Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Can
My
I
big thing
send
is
5 text
the
messages? Yes.
yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. My one thing
Mhm.
that I really work on is the narrative, changing my narrative. It's not a have to. It's never
Oh,
a have to. I get to. I get to do these things
yeah.
for myself, for my family, for my
Love it.
clients, for whoever, but I get to. It's not a when I wake up in the morning, what do I have to do today? No, no, I don't have to do anything, but I get to do this, this, this. And it is,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it changes your whole thought process and your whole feeling in your body when you're like, oh, I get to
Energy.
do this today. It just does, just changes it.
Your energy. It
Mhm.
shifts your energy. That
It
one
does.
word shifts your energy
Yep. Yeah.
completely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm not
love it.
sitting at a
I
lower
love it.
frequency,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sitting at this low frequency, and attracting all of that. I am sitting at a higher frequency and I am
Yeah.
attracting all of this. And I can look outside and see something that makes me smile rather than going, it's cloudy again today, right?
Mm.
these little
Yeah.
mental tricks that we can
Yeah.
play on ourselves are so helpful in our everyday lives.
Big
So,
time. Big time. Well, actually, when you brought up frequency, it's worth looking up David Hawkins' map of consciousness, because when
okay.
people think of, high frequency and, low frequency and that kind of thing, well, where exactly is it, right? Because they're varying degrees, and that's what his
Oh,
map of
yes.
consciousness shows, and that it actually starts at courage.
Really.
That's the gateway to a higher frequency. Right? So
I
if you
love
can
that.
grab 20 seconds of courage, that's all you need.
Yeah.
That'll get you over the hump. So when you are feeling that you are in a lower frequency and it's just, oh my gosh, like, can this day end already? Right?
Yeah.
One thing where you can tap into your courage and just do it. Just hit send, hit
Yeah.
publish, text that
Mhm.
person that you have to have that difficult conversation with.
Yeah.
One act of courage is all you're gonna need to just get you over that hump
Yeah.
and get you into a different energy.
Hmm. I agree. Carol, this has been
Mm,
such a
yeah.
powerful, jam-packed full of little nuggets and just sharing. And I think women who are listening to this, pass this along to a friend, because more of us than not are feeling the same things. And that's the purpose of this podcast, is so that no woman ever feels alone, that every woman always feels like they can be heard and seen, and someone out there will be that person for you. So never feel alone. If you
Yeah,
could
thank you so,
say
so much.
one thing to your 80-year-old self, what would that be?
What I could say to my 80-year-old self?
Mhm.
Hmm, eh, I think, or if my 80-year-old self were talking to me. Is that is it the other way around? I'm not
Or
sure.
what would you say to your 80-year-old self, like from you now, looking into the future?
Oh.
What would you say to her?
Oh, I hope I'm on the right path, and I know you'll be telling me soon. But yeah, yeah, that, I'm just trying to tap into my intuition as much as I can. So, yeah, let me know how I did when I get to the 80.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny
Yeah.
is I am a huge fan of Mandy Morris. I just love her. And I was listening to, she has a couple of books that I listen to, and I listen to them on repeat. I'm not going to lie. Um, but
Oh,
one of the
cool.
things that she
Okay.
says is, when you are feeling in that place, go to
Mm.
that 8-year-old self or that 80-year-old self and get a
Oh,
hug
okay.
and
So
just be.
my 8-year-old, what would I have said to my 8-year-old? Is that what you said?
I was going to ask you that next. I was going to ask you that next. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
so, when
Sorry.
you look
Yeah.
at that 80-year-old self standing there, she's going to
Yeah.
hug you, and you're going to
Mm.
hug her, and you're going to tell her all of the things that are capable of doing and able to do. And she's going to look at you and say, look what you've
Mm.
done, everything. And she's going to help
Mm.
you get there. And that's what I believe. I believe that 80-year-old version of me is going to help me get to where I need to go. Or I get to ask her, am I on the right path? And she's going to be able to help me. But going back to that 8-year-old
Yeah.
girl at my time now, like where you are now, what would you say to that 8-year-old girl?
Oh, keep having fun. And if
Mhm.
people aren't having fun with you, that's not your circus, not your monkeys. Don't worry about it. Go play with another circus. Go find some other monkeys.
That's right.
Find
See?
the monkeys that love to play with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't that something that we wish,
Yeah.
like, I want that to be spread worldwide. If you're not If people aren't bringing you joy, then find new people. It's okay. You get to
Yeah, you don't
be
know
the
where
joy.
they're at.
That's right.
Yeah, we're all at
That's
different
okay.
stages in our
That's right.
lives, right?
Yeah.
We're all in
Different
different
stages, different
seasons.
seasons. Yep.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Vicky, thank you so, so much for doing this. This is clearly an act of love that you do doing this podcast, and especially this month in with
Yes.
dealing with mental health. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I am on record as expressing my deep, deep
Thank
gratitude
you.
for
Thank you.
inviting me, and B, more importantly, for doing this for everybody, anybody
Thank
that's
you.
within earshot. This is important work that you're doing. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And,
Yeah.
it is my life's purpose. I know that and I feel it. And you brought tears to my eyes. And I do thank you so much because the amount of women that I have connected with and the amount of women that have reached out to say, thank you for your story or thank you for the guest, whatever it is, if we're making a difference and we can change this world one woman at a time. And I truly believe that. So thank you
Mm,
for being a part of this.
absolutely.
See, you get me all like teary here.
My, mm.
So if you've heard something in this podcast that really resonated with you, or you think that this could help someone that you know, please pass this along, like and subscribe, because with more people being able to hear our story, the more people, the better. And the more this message is getting out there to everyone that needs to hear it. So remember, no woman is alone and you are not broken. You are perfect, whole, and complete. And you just need to be remembered. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Carole. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode, because your journey to unstoppable starts now.